Okay. Well, hello everybody. It's Merlin here, and we just got back from a pre-showing, a little early show of X-Men: Days of Future Past, and I have the lovely Indigo here with me. I don't know. You want to go first, or want me to go first?
It was a good movie. It was a good X-Men movie. It was like the first one, but there was a few pet peeves.
Well, yeah, that's what I feel like this movie is. I'm just gonna say right now,
it's a great movie full of fanboy gripes.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, it's a very good movie. Okay, I'm gonna say that right off the bat. X-Men: Days of Future Past is one of the best, if not the best, X-Men movie that's come out. I'm just gonna say it. Go see it. But at the same time, I feel kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain this, but you know how
there wasn't enough fight scenes. That was the problem. It was a lot of.
You know, that sounds really petty. You know, but she got it right. Like, that sounds really.
There wasn't enough fight scenes.
That sounds really petty. But you know what? You've nailed it. It was a good movie. A lot of drama, a lot of dialogue, cool plot, you know, good throwback to comic book stuff. But
it's a superhero movie, man. We need to have at least 2 giant scenes of kicking ass.
There were some decent action sequences, but if you were expecting, like, I would say of all the movies that had, like, every movie had, like, a big rumble, a big fight at the end. This one was kind of lacking in that department. Like, it had some good fights, but in the action department, it was kind of weak.
Yeah.
It was more of a suspense thriller, I guess. But
it was also kind of nice to see Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique take on a little bit more of the Mystique from the original trilogy.
Finally.
A lot of people complained that the Mystique in First Class was a little too whiny.
Myself included.
But it's nice to see that they're using that, and they're actually going, well, we can't change that, but we can at least give her character development. And now in this one, she's doing way more quiet, kick-butt action, but she still talks because, it's Jennifer Lawrence.
They kind of had to give her the screen time. And by the way, Mystique is basically the center of the plot of this movie. And it actually works. It works for the way they do it in the film, but I kind of suspect they did that because
Jennifer Lawrence.
She's a big actress now, and she was kind of the center of the movie. I'm like, that's fine, but I thought it was a little obvious. It didn't necessarily need to be there.
Yeah.
If I kind of had to summarize it, I feel like this movie is kind of literally there just to fix everything bad about the worst X-Men movies. Like, it's pretty much where people were kind of left with sort of this bad taste in their mouth from X-Men 3 way back. This movie kind of fixes that, uses the elements of First Class to kind of create its own thing. So I guess I feel like this movie is good, but it doesn't stand on its own completely because it kind of exists to literally fix things that fans complain about, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes it a little weak in some ways.
This is a fanboy movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie made totally to appeal to the original fanboys of the X-Men comics. Which is interesting because we always talk about, well, why can't they completely do a film that appeals completely to the fanboys, and now we know why.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. It's really just for fans of these X-Men movies, specifically. Not just the old comics, but I think really just for the franchise itself, which is awesome. But I feel
it's a good stepping stone.
It's a good stepping stone. It's a great stepping stone. But I feel like it's kind of limited by sort of being just kind of an extension of everything else. Like you know, without the other films, I feel like
Two Towers.
Yeah,
it exists only to get you from Fellowship to the Rings to Return of the King.
Yeah, it's good. It's solid, but this is really just to get us from one point of the story that people liked to something much better. And I feel like without, I don't know, how do you feel with this, hon? I kind of feel like this movie was good, but I feel like without the previous movies, this movie wouldn't stand on its own very well, because it relied a lot on everything else.
Yeah, this was a sequel. Well, that's the biggest thing, though. This is a sequel. It is in a long line. It is basically, instead of making it the original X-Men trilogy, it's going to be X-Men the first one, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, X-Men First Class, and X-Men Days of Future Past. It's turning it into a series, not a trilogy, and a couple little side movies.
I feel like it's quite possible. Do you think that they might just kind of let the old trilogy go now because everybody's kind of leaving? I felt like they're just going to try and push it to the First Class, or what?
They might be pushing it to the First Class just because of the fact that the
older
Ian McKellen and
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart are getting a little old. They're going to definitely keep Hugh Jackman. You can't have Wolverine without Hugh Jackman.
He's thinking about quitting soon, though. You know. Well, he's got to do it eventually.
Who's my favorite Wolverine?
Well, he's it's funny. With each new movie, he becomes better and better. Like, he's more suited. He looks the part. He's just getting to the point where it's so natural for him that, I'll admit, I don't know if I ever told you this.
It'll be hard to recast him.
Very hard. Like, we cast all these people.
Oh, yeah.
What I have to say is that one thing I don't think I ever told you, Hun, is that way back in the day, I mean, I always liked Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but I always felt like there could have been somebody a lot better, because Wolverine's like this short, stocky, gruff, kind of an older-looking guy. And Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman in the original movies, he was like skinny, good-looking. I mean, he was rugged, I guess, in his attitude, but he didn't really seem quite the part.
Yeah.
With each new movie, though, he's like he's finally
getting more and more Wolverine.
Like, he really is finally Wolverine now, but at this point, he's almost too old for the part.
You know what's kind of funny, though? X-Men Origins was partially Hugh Jackman's idea.
Well, I can understand that.
He really pushed that movie because he loves Wolverine that much.
Well,
except he kind of screwed it up.
Well, I mean, I thought the new Wolverine movie was pretty good.
Oh, that one was brilliant, though a lot of people don't like it because they're like Western culture, or Western idea of what Japanese culture looks like. I'm just like, yeah, true, but again, it is based off an actual comic.
Yeah,
so
Western comic.
Don't blame the filmmakers, blame the original comic.
I don't really have a problem with the way they did. I mean, yeah, it's stereotypical ideas, but it's comic books and...
Hey, I'm pretty sure the Japanese people have some stereotypes about us Americans.
I mean, you can't really mess up the basics. I mean, samurai honors and whatever. But we're getting kind of off track.
Okay, but yeah. But...
Should we go into spoilers, or do you think it's necessary? Because, I mean, there's some...
Well, okay, we won't talk about the very last scene.
All right, okay, I will say this much.
We will not talk about it.
Well, okay, all right. I won't say anything. But, okay, from a comic book geek standpoint, I feel like the best thing about this movie was the ending and, of course, the after credit sequence. Okay, I'm just going to say that much because, let's put it this way. Number one, yes. Okay, like, number one, the end of the movie, I don't want to give anything away because it kind of is the best thing about the movie, in all honesty. Everything that it builds up to, let's just say it fixes some things that were messed up, as I said before, so it'll make fans really happy. And then what happens afterwards will make fans of the comics or even the cartoons really happy. If you're a hardcore X-Men fan, I think you're just gonna freaking squee. You're gonna like... I was almost at the point, like, I was like cheering a little bit. I was like, seriously, the whole point of the movie, I was happy at the end. At the end credit sequence, I was like, okay, now I just want to see this movie. Like, I felt like, I'm sorry, this movie was good, but I feel like the whole thing was just to set up a much better movie. Captain
America: The Winter Soldier made me do that because of the end credit scene too. I'm like, I want to see the next movie for that.
Let's put it this way: the end credit sequence after Avengers, or really, the first one with Thanos. Let's put it that way. This is kind of the X-Men equivalent of that.
Yeah, especially since everyone else in the theater was like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Get out!"
Well, that's not... To be fair, I think we were the only people in there that actually like read a significant amount of X-Men comics.
Yeah, because it's not like, it's the most one of the most significant X-Men villains in the entire Rogue Gallery.
Let's put it this way. Hey, to be fair, a lot of people don't know him, in all honesty. No, really, I'm serious. Outside of the comics, people don't know him. He was in the cartoon, and that's it. I'm just saying that much. So he's not that well known. Like, in all honesty, let's put it this way. Okay, one thing that's been irritating me is just the fact that in these X-Men movies, and really most other mediums, they just keep pushing Magneto as the only real X-Men villain.
Yeah.
But now we might finally get to the point where we can realize there are other main villains in the Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, X-Men didn't just fight Magneto. I mean, I would love it if they could introduce the Shi'ar eventually.
Well, I don't think they're quite at that point yet. They're still trying to keep it contained with just mutants, but that would be awesome.
Like, bring in the Shi'ar, bring in the Brood, man. The Brood are nasty.
I could see them doing that. Like, that's pretty much what the X-Men do in comics. They just fight aliens.
Yeah, that's what all they do.
Honestly, these days, that's all they do because the whole mutant thing has kind of gotten a little
old,
repetitive. Yeah, it's kind of weak now. Actually, okay, I'm going to say one big pet peeve I have with this movie. Like, in all honesty, actually, I think Indigo kind of summed up my biggest problem with it. Is the fact that, in all honesty, there is ultimately a lot less action than I was hoping there would be, and in this big epic movie, it's still really good, but it's lacking in that department. And my biggest issue with it was this movie is kind of based around the comics, which I think it follows very closely, but it's based around the Sentinels. And I feel like after waiting for quite literally about 15 years to see Sentinels fight, we still don't really get to see Sentinels fight.
We get to see future Sentinel fights.
Which is cool, but that's not what we really want.
We didn't get to see original Sentinels.
We see the original Sentinels, and they do stuff, like, a little bit, like in one scene. Yeah, like a second of it. Like, yay, Wolverine's fighting a Sentinel for literally, like, what,
5 minutes.
Less than that. So, I'm sorry, like...
We get to see Beast fight a Sentinel, and then turn back into a human so he doesn't get shot.
I will say one thing. There's pretty much a cameo for just about, like, every character, let's put it, just about every character, every X-Men actor somehow shows up in this movie. I swear. Like, there's a cameo. But there's a couple people that really stand out for me. I think that the Future, I think Iceman was awesome. I think Blink, is that her name, was awesome?
Blink, oh yeah. Little Miss.
I thought Beast is really cool. Like, Beast's makeup looks great. He's great action. Beast was awesome. Beast was a beast.
The past one?
Past one.
Yeah, he was actually a lot better in this one. He was a hell of a lot less whiny.
He was pretty awesome.
Problem with the X-Men First Class is that all the main characters were, why does my path have to be so crappy?
Well, that was kind of annoying.
X-Men the First Class, who whines too much.
Wooda.
In this one, Beast had to literally play nurse nanny to a
Professor
Xavier who's addicted to pain medication, basically.
He was addicted to mutagen curing.
He was Dr. House.
He wasn't that much of a dick. But yeah, well, kind of sort of was.
He was in the
Actually, yeah, well, he was kind of walking with the yeah, alright, I can kind of see that.
He was a mutant Dr. House.
He's got a mutant Dr. House. Unfortunately, there is no Nightcrawler.
There isn't, no.
But
I think they're kind of pushing that Nightcrawler's dad's not Azazel, but actually Beast.
Quicksilver's in this movie, sort of.
Oh, yes. For a moment. First half.
He's really awesome. I think he steals the show when he's in it. But then they just kind of...
Costume's terrible, but still.
Yeah, well, I could get past that.
It's 1970s.
He was funny.
No one's costume choices.
No, really. Quicksilver was awesome. But then he disappears. Like, you know, like...
Like, there's a quick moment where Magneto's doing this announcement and they flash back to him.
But you're like, oh. Yeah, like,
it's just a moment.
Like, he's a big part of, like, helping get Magneto out, and then...
Poof.
We're just gonna drop him.
Though they do this fun thing where where Quicksilver's in the elevator with Magneto after rescuing him, and he goes like, "You move metal, huh? My mom knew a guy who could do that." And Magneto has this look on his face where he's like, "Oh God, no." That's
kind of funny. I mean, they don't outright say it, but yeah.
Yeah, you can see Magneto's face going, oh, crap.
Well, once again, the age would have been a little odd there. I mean, it's probably like maybe 35, 40. I mean, I guess he might be younger than the actor is. It could work, but it still was pushing it a little. But they could have easily done it. I mean,
They were making him out to be a teenager.
Yeah, within the same continuity. It's possible.
Also, you don't know, before X-Men First Class, Magneto was traveling the world to kill all the Nazis. You don't know what he was doing. He could have easily been, like, at the age of 19 going, "Hey, pretty lady," and then, "Baby!"
Yeah, hey, he was going around. That is possible. But she was, like, American, so...
I don't know, maybe there's a Nazi hiding in the middle of New Jersey.
Well, I'm sure there might still be. Oh, yeah, Peter Dinklage was Trask.
Oh, yes.
It was great. Direction was pretty good. The story was pretty cohesive. I thought Bishop was kind of underused. He was barely there.
Yeah, but still, like...
He was cool,
he was still pretty freaking awesome.
He was awesome, but I mean, like...
They used Warpath, who's a little more of an obscure...
He's an old school
He's old school, and he's really, like very...
I mean...
obscure. Not a lot of people know him.
Well, the cool thing about Warpath... Well, the thing I thought was kind of a weird choice for using him is that he was like one of the original X-Men when they regrouped to save the originals.
Well, there is another Warpath that works for Cable.
Okay.
I think they're using that
So he's not the original Warpath.
He's not the original Warpath.
The original Warpath...
actually, throughout the X-Men comics, there's always
always been another Warpath.
The name is inherited.
That's true. Well, the original Warpath got blown up like in his second appearance or something, so... But yeah, okay, that makes sense. But Warpath's always the same, which is kind of weird they kill him off.
And then they use Sunspot, but he's not Japanese. He's not white.
That's who that was.
He's a person of color.
It's Sunspot.
He's still a person of color,
Oh.
He's just not Japanese. He's Arabic.
Well, that's
or
fine.
Indian.
Whatever. But I didn't even know. I forgot who he was.
But still, it's like, as long as they didn't make him a straight
another
up white guy.
kind of obscure X-Men character anyway. I forgot about Sunspot.
But still, it's kind of sad that they didn't make him Japanese because Sunspot is the motherfucking Emperor of Japan.
He kind of is like the Japanese mutant.
He literally was he became the only Japanese person left in the Age of the Apocalypse. He's the only mutant left, the Japanese person left, because Apocalypse wiped Japan off the map.
Yeah, that's true. That did happen, didn't it?
There was no Japanese people left.
Yeah, in that one storyline.
In that one storyline, Japan was like, bye-bye.
So, I don't know. Overall...
That's not kind to Japan.
Well, who is kind to Japan? Godzilla's not kind to it. Giant robots aren't kind to it. The X-Men aren't kind to it, apparently. Any final thoughts about it?
Good movie. Go see it. It's just a lot of kind of meaningless fanboy gripes.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. It pretty much lives up to the hype, but if you're a hardcore fanboy, you'll
walk into this, be prepared.
There'll be some things that are messed up, some things that are maybe not done quite as well as you like, but it's really trying very hard to appease fans, and I think for the most part it does a really good job. If you had to pin a grade on it, what do you think you'd pin on it?
I'd give it an A-.
That's what I'm thinking. Probably A-.
Yeah.
Maybe an A, but not an A+ though.
Yeah, not that perfect. Like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, that trailer.
That was gonna definitely be in the A or B territory.
They had a new trailer, and that Guardians of the Galaxy looks like it's gonna be one of the best Marvel studios.
It's a good one.
Looks awesome.
I like it.
That looks good. But yeah, guys.
It's just the trailer, the music they use for it. I can just, it just literally the trailer, like you can see, if the trailer was a person, you would see it walking across the street just with so much swag coming off of it. Like, I don't even need to take myself seriously. I'm so cool. I can use crazy music and my action film would still be awesome.
That's kind of the cool thing about the film, actually, just based on the trailers. It kind of, I think, sells what the film is going to be, and this is kind of on Guardians of the Galaxy now, but you can tell how confident Marvel is, because, like you said, exactly like that. And
Swagger.
The whole, it's silly. It knows it's silly, but it's still going to try and be awesome and epic. There might even be some seriousness there. But the thing is, they're having fun with it, and they have confidence. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is an obscure, fairly recent, rebooted thing that they're just deciding to make into a movie.
Yeah.
And it has kind of a cult fan base even within Marvel. Heck, I don't even know that much about it.
Yeah.
And they're making they're making it one of their biggest things.
I've heard some sparse rumoring of Star-Lord. Like, I think he was in Marvel Illuminati. No, I might be thinking of something else.
I have heard of. I know where he is, but the point is, Marvel is really continuing to kick ass in the cinematic universe right now.
Yeah. I really wish, though, that Marvel would finally get the confidence to make a solo Black Widow movie.
I thought that was in development.
I heard, but they just released a list of all the movies they're about to make, and apparently instead of Black Widow, we're going to get Black Panther.
Well,
as much as it's nice to see another person of color having their own movie,
to be fair, Marvel hasn't really done too many of those in a while. I mean, I think the last one they did probably would have been the Blade movies, which are okay. So, I'm fine with Black Panther, but yeah, I think Black Widow deserves her own movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
Black Widow deserves her own movie, especially when DC is probably not going to do a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, which I don't understand either. Yeah.
Completely screw up Wonder Woman, especially since they're basing it off the 52 Wonder Woman, and that Wonder Woman is not Wonder Woman. That is a paid prostitute, paid to dress up like Wonder Woman to hang off of Superman.
There are so many reasons why, there are so many things riding against the Justice League movie, which is basically what it's turning into. I'm sorry, Batman vs Superman. I mean, believe me, I really want to love it. I really do. I mean, deep down, I'm more of a DC fan. Everybody knows this, but I'll tell you right now that let's just put it this way: the fact that they're basing their comics off of a line that literally the fans do not like.
They hate it.
Like, literally, when they put polls up on the website, like, what new direction you'd like to see the company take, when everybody literally says, take let's go back to the previous universe, bring back old DC before New 52, and they literally take the pole down. When they have to have their own writers leaving, quitting because they refuse to do things the company wants them to do, like killing off main characters like Jon Stewart.
There's one or two good things. Like I know the original Batgirl is now homosexual. It's those little things, but it's not enough to carry a storyline.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. You're right. They're trying to modernize things a little bit, but Marvel's been ahead of the game for that for decades.
Yeah, and you can easily modernize a film. Modernize it and still keep it in continuity.
Well, the problem is...
You can make Oracle realize, oh my gosh, I'm actually gay.
Well, she's kind of had a thing with Dick Grayson for a long time, so...
You could still have her be bi, at least.
Yeah, maybe. Not the best example, perhaps. I don't know, but...
I'm just saying, Cassandra Clare.
The point is, this is just another example of Marvel doing well. DC really needs to get their act together, but... let's put it this way, the template that they're basing this movie on is not good at all. So maybe it could be good. It's possible. Anything's possible. But right now... It
might surprise us.
I hope so, but let's put it this way. I'm looking... You know what? What Tiefling told us the other day. God, okay, there are one or two options here on... Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm calm. Sorry. Okay, there are one or two things that are going to happen. Okay, either DC, which is pretty much what we always say, DC sucks, they hate their fans, I don't know what they're thinking over there, but, okay, they either want to destroy their company and not make another Justice League movie for another 20 years, or what they want to do is they have really, really massive amounts of confidence, really big balls, because apparently they're going to release this movie on top of everything else that's probably wrong with it. They're going to release it the same day as Captain America 3.
They're not backing down.
They're not backing down. I'm like, that's not a good idea, even if your movie was going to be good, because you're going off of a movie that people are already kind of iffy about, with DC for many reasons. DC, honestly, I think with the general movie going on, it's not as popular.
And especially after the success of Winter Soldier.
Especially after the last couple Marvel movies. They've had a long run the last couple years. People are going to go see Captain America 3, even if they're not big Captain America fans, because at least they know Marvel Studios is generally competent. DC, Warner Brothers,
as much as I like...
Hit or miss.
The only thing that I liked about Man of Steel was the fact that I really think Henry Cavill can play a great Superman.
Oh, I think Man of Steel was good, but like a lot of the recent DC films, it had its problems dividing audiences and fans.
The problem with the films of DC... such as the Batman 3, Man of Steel, and this upcoming movie, is that they're trying to be too deep.
They're trying to be too deep.
Too hyper-realistic.
Too deep, too dark, too hyper-realistic, and they're rubbing it in people's faces. Like, you look back at the Nolan movies, I mean, I know everybody loves them, but...
The first one was cool, but the plot was simple.
The plot was simple. They didn't really... I'm sorry, their interpretation of Batman is one that really isn't very true to the character in a lot of ways. I'm sorry.
I don't know, I like the development, I like the training montages.
The training... Look, I do think that they did a good job making him seem more human, but they took some of the awesomeness from Batman. In some ways, I think. But the biggest problem, I think, with it is just the fact that the movie tried to be so smart that it was a little too smart for its own good and rubbed into the audience's face. Literally, the characters would state the themes and the ideas and their purpose in the story,
just want to see
which is kind of contradicts the whole realism that they're going for. It's just
it's that's not how people talk, guys.
Yeah, no, that's a little much. I mean, it was a little pretentious, and I think
at least in the first movie, they still had some funny bits.
Yeah, nice coat,
Yeah, or when Alfred has to put the girlfriend into the car.
I think I know what the problem is. When you boil it down to it, there's a lot of problems. But really, Marvel knows what the fans want.
And they're willing to give.
And the thing is, Marvel has fun. They make good quality stuff, but at the end of the day, they have fun. They know what they are, they embrace it, and they run with it the best they can.
They know who they're speaking to. They appeal to the feminists. They appeal to people who want more representation of people of color, or at least trying to. Mm-hmm. They're being morally, socially responsible on that part. They're trying to keep to the storylines. I mean,
they're just better made. I mean, DC needs to just look at what their fans want and listen to them and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Embrace it. If they just do that, they'll at least be on the right way.
Yeah.
The right path.
I mean, look at this film, X-Men,
Days of Future Past?
Days of Future Past, thank you. It's late.
It is late. It's like 1 in the morning or something.
Days of Future Past. We have our gripes about it.
Yeah.
But we still love it because it's giving us what we want.
At the end of the day, yeah, we want to see the X-Men done well and paying homage to the old storylines. And that's what it does. I mean,
I want to see Storm. I want to see Rogue. I want to see Kitty Pryde. I want to see the characters that got me into comic books in the first place.
Yeah, and it delivers. So I mean, that's a good thing about these movies is that they bring these characters to life and bring them alive. They make them more real to us. And they use them to express other avenues to make them more accessible for other moviegoers and introduce them to those characters.
This is our mythology. If some jerk-off in ancient Greece decided, I'm going to write a story about Hercules that's totally not Hercules...
Dwayne Johnson.
That actually might be a good one, though.
Yeah, hard to say.
But, like, I'm going to totally write a film, or write an ancient epic about Hercules. I think Zeus himself would go, fuck you!
He'd probably be like, it's already been done. So, the point is they have their place. You got to treat them with respect. If you do that, you'll at least satisfy somebody.
Yeah, like, these are the characters we grew up with. These are the characters that help shape who we are. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, all these amazing things, all these amazing people. And you're pretty much completely ruining them, and you're giving the world's biggest middle finger to your fans going, we don't care. You literally are making a special little DC club of like, well, we like it this way, so we don't want to do it your way. It's like, okay, I write stories, I write comic books, but even I have to bend to the will of my editor at times, especially when he goddamn makes sense. Even if I don't like it. Even if it makes me go, fuck this shit.
Sometimes you have to rein in another person's opinion and find some common ground. Now, in summation, we kind of went off topic there. Let's just say Days of Future Past was awesome, right?
Yes, it was awesome. Go see it. Love every second of it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, definitely do. Let me know what you think about it over the weekend if you get a chance to see it.
Please comment.
Please comment, subscribe. Indigo really wants comments. She's convinced that apparently you guys don't like her or something. So prove her wrong. Say some nice things or mean if you want. I mean, I'll just delete the comments anyway. But either way, yeah. So please.
I was just hoping for boob socks to become a thing.
Well, we were reviewing Transcendence. I mean, that movie was terrible. Nobody was gonna. First of all, it was like a week after it came out, so it was barely still in theaters, about to leave. Anybody that had seen it already, knew it was crap, and nobody else was interested. So they were like, "Okay, Merlin, you're reviewing this movie. I don't care. Johnny Depp's not big anymore." So, anyway, yeah, comment, subscribe. I'm going to get some more videos up in the future. Actually, I'm probably going to do a video, probably just celebrating the fact I got 800 subs recently. I'm going to look through some of my best videos that I've done and just recommend them to you guys. And hopefully more videos will be on the way. So, yeah, peace out, guys. Take it easy. Do a little dance and make a little love.